Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is gonna be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in and home sellers are starting to freak out. And not only about whether or not they missed the opportunity to sell their home at the peak, which the answer is yes, they did miss the opportunity to sell at the peak, but now they are also freaked out about losing massive amounts of equity in their homes. And as of right now, we have almost 100% of metro areas that are showing price decline. Something many people couldn't even fathom a few months ago. And I'm talking about big household names with brilliant economists on their staff that just could not get things right. And so many of these big companies are starting to change their tune. And now that we have perhaps hit peak inflation, I said perhaps hit peak inflation, we're going to start seeing the narrative once again spiral out of control. Greed is going to take place of logic once again, because remember, usually the narrative is they need to make more money by convincing you to buy a house. And that is what we often face, guys. And I'm not trying to rant here, but this is what I have been saying for the last couple decades, right? And that's really what I'm doing on my show. But remember, guys, I'm not a financial advisor, even if I want to be, even if you want me to be, but I have a lot of experience in real estate. That's my bio is actually as a realtor, loan officer, instructor. So I love talking about real estate. And even more, I really love helping people, all kinds of people, understand how real estate works. So you guys do me a favor for that bio, for my desire, for my goals. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and shoot me a comment below, guys. I really appreciate that. I'm sorry I have not been responding to all my comments. I have been fighting burnout. I'm feeling a lot better, guys, but I had to sacrifice one thing because I was doing way too much. Because remember, I also have a full-time W-2 job, so putting out a video a day or even 2 videos a day is extremely mentally draining. And people are like, well, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. But you guys, the reason why I'm putting out so many videos, well, a couple reasons. Number one, there's so much alarm ringing that still needs to be done, but also I have my own goals. So I'm working especially hard to get you guys content every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, that has something new or something entertaining. I try to be entertaining. Mostly I just embarrass myself. I get it, but I'm trying to give you guys something of value each and every time. Now, what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you guys some Redfin charts just to compare what this article is saying, but we're going to jump into a USA Today article that's titled, "Housing Market Has Further to Fall as Buyers Walk Away and Sellers Scramble for Profit." There's a reason sellers have had such a huge advantage over buyers over the past few years. The real estate market has lacked inventory in a big way. Meanwhile, the supply of available homes began to dwindle at a time when mortgage rates began falling to record lows. That sparked a huge gap between supply and demand that drove home prices way up. Sellers have still enjoyed their fair share of gains this year, but home price gains are clearly slowing. In August, for example, home prices rose 13% on a year-over-year basis. Do y'all see how they still want to talk about they're going up on a year-over-year basis? According to the S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller U.S. National Home Price Index. But that's a slower pace than what sellers enjoyed in prior months. Now, real quick, in this paragraph, you guys, this article, I believe, was released today, December 1st. They're still talking about August data. Why are they still talking about August data when we're in December? I mean, is it because of the narrative that they want? I mean, there's data out right now past August that they could have talked about. So crazy. I mean, it's crazy to me. Just use the most recent data, right? I don't know. It is what it is. Meanwhile, investment banking giant Goldman Sachs recently issued a warning about the housing market. Specifically, it expects the market to slow sharply in the coming months as buyer demand wanes. And just to give you guys an idea of how much home buying demand has actually declined, here's a Redfin home buying demand index chart. Now, as you guys can see here, home buying demand is actually down 33% year over year. Now, the year of 2022 is represented in red, okay? The blue line is 2021, the gray line is 2020. So you can see this is where we're at right now. We are well under the demand levels of 2020 and 2021. I mean, well under. Do y'all see that? So we're well under, and this is what the Federal Reserve actually wants to see. There's essentially yesterday when the Federal Reserve started talking, they essentially said that they expect, to be honest with you, they expect real estate servicing sector to really get hit in 2023. So I'm worried about that. More than likely, there's going to be a lot more pain in the real estate sector as demand keeps getting crushed and as sales continue to plummet. And again, you guys, the Federal Reserve has even said that real estate services. So he expects to see the real estate services housing services messed up in 2023. But I would argue that they're already messed up. I mean, they're already messed up, but we haven't seen how bad it's going to get. And that's a fact. Let's jump back into the article. All right, let's see what Goldman Sachs has to say next. Should sellers be worried? Goldman Sachs expects home price gains to stall completely and average 0% in 2023. That's not the best of news, as it could mean that sellers will end up walking away with a lot less money in the coming year. Why such a gloomy outlook? It has to do with the laws of supply and demand. The whole reason why home prices soared in 2020 and 2021 is that the real estate market didn't have enough inventory to meet buyer demand. And that's why, you guys, if you really want to understand supply and demand and the amount of inventory we have, you have to look at months of inventory or months of supply, right? Because that takes into account demand, which is very important. Right now, inventory is still down compared to normal levels, and that's a fact. But as more and more buyers drop out of the market due to factors such as rising mortgage rates and recession fears, the gap between supply and demand is apt to narrow. And once buyer demand wanes enough to allow for an adequate supply of listed homes, sellers will lose much of the edge they enjoyed over the past 2 years. So let's take a look at the months of supply. Again, you guys, this is from Redfin. Redfin's actually going to have an updated report today. It just didn't come out in time for this video. But as you guys can see, again, the red line is 2022. This is the months of supply available on the market. You can see this red line is over 2020 in gray and 2021 in blue. So we actually have a lot more months of supply when compared to 2020 and 2021, which around this time of year had about 2.5 to 2 months of supply. So we have not double, but we have a lot more months of supply at 3.5. And you guys can see that started going up around May and we peaked out around June, just depending on the data provider that you see. So more than likely, and what the Federal Reserve and what we all want to see is we want to see this skyrocket upward. Now, again, to put it in perspective, guys, the good news is in new construction, we already have almost 9 months of supply or inventory in new construction. So new construction, you're going to continue to see a lot more buying incentives, a lot more price cuts as well in new construction because of the amount of inventory versus the lack of demand. We'll take a look at unemployment here in a minute, guys, but let's finish out this article. Sellers should get moving. If you're interested in selling your home, then that time to act might be now. We're already at a point where mortgage rates are the highest they've been in several decades, and that alone is impacting buying interest. But at least we're not in a recession right now. That could change in 2023, and many financial experts are convinced that economic conditions will take a notable turn for the worse in the new year. If a recession hits and spurs a wave of unemployment, it will only drive more buyers out of the market. And so it's best to get ahead of that scenario by listing your home while the economy is still holding steady and the labor market is still solid. It concludes, that said, anyone looking to sell a home today will need to make sure to price it carefully. Sellers are no longer getting away with the exuberant prices that they were able to command when buying demand was at its peak. If you're looking to sell, it pays to team up with a seasoned real estate agent who can help price your home appropriately and get you the most money for it. So one big thing that I definitely agree with this article, and actually many other people, is we definitely, unemployment is going to be a huge factor on a collapse, right? On a total housing market collapse. If unemployment gets so out of control that the Federal Reserve can't control it, starts printing money, things are going to get bad, obviously, right? But more than likely, guys, here's the thing. In order for unemployment to go up, a lot of things have to break. And think of how messed up that is. Like, the Federal Reserve has to attack American workers and American businesses just to fix the problem. I mean, that's actually super sad because that affects people's legacies and livelihoods that are like business owners or even workers, tech workers. I mean, look at the tech workers. It's an absolute, it's honestly, it's pretty sad. And I know we're rooting for unemployment because we want low prices, but remember, you guys, in order for us to win, people have to lose. So just be careful what you say because they're going through a lot of pain, right? But let me show you guys where we're at with unemployment right now. So this is Fred economic data unemployment rate. The last time this updated was November 4th. So more than likely, this is probably going to update Monday, you guys. And I'm interested to see now, it's still so low. It's only 3.7%. I mean, it's just so low, guys. And if you look here, the unemployment rate has essentially been going down this whole time. So the fact that we have to undo all of this work, this is from 2013 right here. We have to undo all of this, because look at, 2013 unemployment was a whopping 8%. That's crazy if you guys think about it. In 2013, right after the recession, we were at 8% unemployment. Are you kidding me? But look at, we've made so much progress. So now the Federal Reserve wants this, to go up, and that's unfortunate for obvious reasons because all of this work here is going to be flushed down the toilet. But this is what we need to keep our eyes on. Essentially, the higher this goes, the lower the prices will go on houses. I mean, that's just a simple way to put it. Now, in conclusion, some of the dust has started to settle. Now, the thing is, guys, that is refreshing. That's actually refreshing because it's starting to become a little easier to see what direction we are headed in next with the housing market, right? And now, in my opinion, home price decline will be the worst it's been in 2023. After 2023, I really don't, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I can almost assure you that 2023 is going to be one of the darkest years in history in our housing market. Now, remember, also, there are plenty of people that are waiting to purchase, but also there are even more people that have been priced out completely. Now, all of that to say, you need to worry about yourself. And in order to do that, you need to focus on increasing your leverage as a buyer. And remember, there's essentially three things you need to work on, guys. Three things: credit, income, and assets. Now, on top of that, positive mindset, love your family, love your children, love your spouse, right? And become an expert in your local housing market. And remember this, you guys, love your family, enjoy your children, enjoy your life. Wake up in the mornings with a positive mindset because at least, you guys, you're not sheep. You're aware of what's happening and you're trying to do something about it. So for that, guys, I'm proud of you. Now, I really hope you guys got some value, perspective, and insights from today's video. And if you're out there investing in real estate, I wish you luck and I hope you win.